you are worried to how will it look from the outside? What will people say when they see you not having those things that you used to have? Because when we talk about that now, we are also talking about downgrading.
But because you're not downgrading,
Yes.
you're making things worse.
Yes.
You're making your recovery later significantly more difficult.
Yeah. So it's my own terms of saying I'm downgrading so that I can upgrade. And then I cannot be worried about what people are saying because...
Welcome to another edition of Mindset Profits, man. This is going to be a really good one. Now, I did say we're going to do a lot of financial literacy this year, and today my very good friend and buddy is back to talk about how to get the most out of your salary in times of recession. We know that the economy is tight, but I was reading about, and I found a stat that says 60% of millionaires made their wealth, most of their wealth, during recession time. So even if the economy is tight, the opportunity is still there if you're willing to do the right things. But without further ado, Mr. Percy, man,
Yes.
welcome back.
No, thank you so much for having me today. Yes.
How have you been?
No, I've been good. How's
the new house since you moved?
Yeah, no, it's just I still need to get used to the area. It's like my life is still in Joburg North, so most of the things that I want to do, I have to still come back this side to do them. Yeah.
So you haven't fully.
Yeah, I haven't
moved.
fully. Yeah.
I saw a post where you were
Yes.
saying this change shocked you because of how much money
Yes.
you're saving.
Oh yes, it really helped because when I'm looking at it, I was even calculating to say how much are the savings since I moved from Joburg North to where I am now. I've realized in terms of fuel alone, it's something like 4,000 plus.
How much were you spending on fuel, man?
I was spending a lot because every 4 days I was pouring a full tank. Because I was driving something like 110 kilometers just to and from work without going any other places. So if I have other things that I need to do, it's addition to that. So I was spending a lot of time in the car. And then even in terms of time, it's like I used to use 1 hour, 30 minutes to arrive at work, 1 hour, 30 minutes to come back from work. And even
Was
people
that because of fuel or just the distance? Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Was it because of traffic or
yes,
just
it
the
was
distance?
because of traffic and both, combination of both, yeah. So even the people I work with, when I tell them that I was staying in Joburg North, they couldn't believe what I'm staying so far from work, yeah.
So you were inspiring people
Yes.
to know this guy is staying far from work.
So,
But it's cool.
yes.
So besides the fuel, what has the experience been? What other advantages come?
Yes, I think the advantage is just for you to take care of your body because I was always tired because it was training the body. So at least now when you are closer to work, besides saving, you are also well rested. Even when you get invitation, you can give people the best presentations rather than when you are tired. Yeah.
So that's you now. Your presentations have leveled up. Then the economy is fairly tight now.
Yes.
And you are Mr. Salary.
Yes.
What tips can you start? I think we're going to go through a lot. We will talk through a lot of things to consider when the money is tight, the budget is tight, and the economy is tight. So you're sort of squeezed in the middle there, how to get the most of what you have.
Yes.
But obviously, it's not always about learning how to live on less.
Yes.
You want to learn how to earn more.
Yes.
Right? That's always the bigger lesson.
Yes.
But in this season that you might find yourself in, let's look at some of the options that you have in terms of how to make the most of what you have. I think what is the first one that comes up for you?
Okay, I would say usually when things are bad for the country. Yeah, when things are bad for the country, it's good for an investor. It's a good time for an investor because it's easy to access funding. And then even for me in property, most of my properties, I bought them during the COVID time.
Oh.
So when things were bad and then the interest was low, that was the better time. I could qualify for more. So that's when I went and bought 4 of my properties. I bought them during the COVID time. So that time,
yeah,
it's good for an investor, but it's bad for somebody who is saving. Because if you are saving your money and then you have put your money in the bank, you are getting less on interest because the interest is low. But for somebody who wants to access funding, who has a salary, your salary can access more things than when the interest is higher.
That's a big one, man.
Yes.
I was just smiling as you're speaking because I'm thinking,
yes,
COVID hit,
yes,
a lot of people got into panic.
Yes.
You decided to be buying properties.
Yes.
And I'm thinking in my head to someone listening, what were you doing during COVID? Other children are buying properties, man. That's good. I like the fact that you're saying interest rates are low.
Yes.
So it allows you to buy a little bit more and it's great for investment. And if interest rates are low, do you think it puts someone in trouble who goes and overextends themselves and then interest rates increase later?
Oh, yes. That's very important to say. It takes me back to the issue of saying when you take a debt, don't take it to your full capacity. And then again, when you take a debt that will generate money for you. Because if it's generating money for you, even if the interest goes up, you've got that room to increase and decrease with the interest. So it's very important for us. For me, what I did during those time, I didn't just buy properties. I bought properties and then I was maximizing the stand, making sure that I build more things so that by the time the interest goes up, I don't get to feel the pinch. Even when people were talking to say the interest is high and then they are thinking of letting go of their properties, for me it was a different thing altogether because I was not really feeling the pinch because of the income that was coming through based on what I did with the properties during those times.
Okay, so yes. I think the baseline here is the economy is tight, but you've been doing a couple of things in advance. Your credit score is solid for starters.
Yes.
And you've been saving. So we're going to look at the flip side if you are not in that situation.
Yes.
But if you're saying interest rates are low, it's actually not the only advantage I'm thinking of comes with the recession and the economy being tight.
Yes.
What also comes with that is interest rates are low, which is a big benefit.
Yes.
But a lot of people are struggling and are selling off their assets at a discount.
Yes, it's true.
Was that the case when you were buying?
For me, it was not really the case because most of the properties, some of the one of the property that I bought, it was a new development, so the amount was fixed. I didn't have a room to negotiate. But obviously, most people who were selling then, they were more like desperate sellers. They were just getting rid of those properties and then they were selling at a lower price compared to when the interest is higher.
Yeah, I found that a lot of people sell houses, cars, even gadgets, man. I've seen people buy these fancy cameras at half the price because it's a recession. Someone was saying, I buy in January because somehow late January, people sell off stuff. So you're saying if you're in recession, saving is not a good option. Can you explain that a bit?
Oh, yes. It's more like, let's say the interest is at 10% at the moment, which means if you have 100,000 there, you are making 10,000 per annum.
Yeah.
And then if the interest goes to 6%, it means instead of making the 10,000, now you are making 6,000 per annum, which is so less compared to what you would have made if the interest is higher.
Gotcha.
So you are making less on the interest that you are earning. Although if we are to look at somebody who wants to invest,
Yeah.
that interest is good for you, because if you earn, let's say, 10,000, and then the interest is at 10%, and then you are buying a house of 1 million, which means you are going to be paying 10,000 per month on your house.
Yeah.
But if the interest is at 6%, instead of paying 10,000, you are paying something like 6,000 on your debt, which means you pay less on the debt that you take. So that's the right time for you to be getting as many debts as possible, but because you'll be paying the minimum. But what happened with a lot of people, they bought debts, or they took debts that don't make money for them. So if you go and just take your residential house, for example, you buy a house during COVID when it's 6%, then you are paying 6,000. Then when COVID has left, now you have to pay 10,000 plus all the levies and rates. Then you realize that I cannot afford this house. You could afford it during COVID, but you can't afford it after COVID, because the debt doesn't make money for you. It's a debt that is taking money from you. So that's what happened to a lot of people.
A lot of people, yeah,
Yes.
true. Have you explored people who talk about consolidating their debt? Because sometimes you might realize a lot of your debt is on a credit card, and sometimes on accounts where you're charged 17%, 20%, depending on your credit score. And then a crisis is happening, or the economy is in recession, and interest rates go down in general. Would it then be advisable for someone to go and take the one loan on a low rate and pay off all the other ones? Like I go and take a personal loan.
Yes.
Personal loan
But
is not going to
usually
be-
most of those debts you'll find already, they are already in the high interest. Like personal loan, you can't
Yeah,
take personal
that's why I
loan
was
to pay
retracting.
for your car, and then you can't take personal loan to pay off your house, because the personal loan is at 25% around there,
Yeah.
and then your house is at 10%. So that's why we say, if you are to take money out of a debt, the best debt to take money out of is a property. To say, okay, I have a debt of a car, which is let's say 300,000, and then you've got access in your
Access
bond.
in your bond, yeah.
Then you can rather take that 300,000 from a lower interest bearing debt and pay the high bearing interest debt out of that. Yeah.
Have you had people who buy businesses? You don't normally talk to people who buy other businesses.
It
Or
will
just
be
shares
once in a long time, just somebody sharing their testimony, because I receive a lot of testimony, but it won't be like an extreme conversation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because one thing I was thinking of is people can buy distressed businesses. A lot of entrepreneurs, once they're in trouble, they sell off their businesses, sometimes their assets on the cheap.
Yes. No, that will be a good investment. I mean, that will be a good investment. But again, you have to be understanding the business. Maybe it's a business that you are doing on a smaller scale, and then somebody is selling the same kind of business which is already grown, but it is what you are doing on the smaller scale. Then it will be good for you to buy it. True. For example, for me now, if you say go and buy a sneaker business, it's going to go down the drain, because I don't have the background of the business. Yes.
Man, you confess. You're not saying I'll figure it out.
Yes.
All right. So here's another thing I'm thinking of while we're talking. Once the economy is tight, a lot of people have got underutilized assets that they could sell.
Yes.
Like you go to people's garages, you're going to find stuff that they can put on marketplace and make some extra cash. And the funny thing is, you might find someone is hoarding maybe old gym equipment that they're not even using, or other stuff. You know what you are holding that you can sell off. And you've got these people calling you for an account, bothering you every month that you owe us 300 rand. It seems like such a simple trade-off. To say, sell off that thing and pay off that debt.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's a difficult thing for people to let go of things.
Yeah.
It's like once you own something, I don't know if you are attached to things because, or you are worried to how will it look from the outside? What will people say when they see you not having those things that you used to have? Because when we talk about that now, we are also talking about downgrading in a way.
Yeah.
To say, why don't you downgrade so that you can be able to afford to pay off those debts, which is a very wise decision to go with. Yeah.
And I think you are going to make a video about downgrading. I think,
Yes.
let me challenge you.
Yes.
You need a video on downgrading. I think we need to get you to sit down and talk to us about downgrading. I'll
Yes.
tell you something, because
Yes.
I've had to downgrade as well.
Yes.
In my life, man, when I lost my business and I just lost all kinds of liquidity,
Yes.
it got really bad.
Yes.
But I think one of the biggest lessons I got in hindsight, I didn't learn it in the moment. In the
Yes.
moment, it was just all pain
Yes.
and trauma. But in hindsight, I was looking at how I was getting kicked out of apartments and downgrading.
Yes.
Man, each time it would be the landlord really goes the extra mile to kick you out because you're owing maybe 1 or 2 months. And each time when you move like that, there's little cost expenses that you're not seeing. And now
Yes.
your property gets damaged because
Yes.
when you're moving from this place
Yes.
to wherever it is you're moving to,
Yes.
it's going to be smaller.
Yes.
So now everything is all over the place.
Yeah.
I was being downgraded by life. I was
Yes.
not doing it intentionally
Yeah.
and with thought.
Yes.
And I got caught up in a space where it's depressing.
Yes.
That's why I remember when we had a chat, I was saying, I don't bash on people because I know what
Yes.
it's like to
Oh,
be
yes.
broke
Yes,
and,
yes.
and suffering. It's
Yes.
painful, man.
Yes.
Sometimes the
Yes.
last thing you want to hear is someone
Yes.
come in and say, hey, you're useless.
Yeah.
So I
Yes.
felt it like firsthand.
Yes.
The lesson for me, though, was
Yeah.
if I had taken the time to do it in advance,
Yes.
to downgrade myself in
Yes.
advance, before the pain, before
Yes.
being kicked out,
Yes.
I could have sold off some stuff.
Yes.
I could have, remember, if you're downgrading from a place where maybe you're paying 9,000,
Yes.
right? And you move to where you're paying 5.
Yes.
If you move yourself there,
Yes.
then you don't move with the trauma.
Oh, yeah.
One.
Yeah.
And you look at what you're earning,
Yes.
and if you downgrade yourself,
Yes.
you move to a life that you can afford
Yes.
without the trauma.
Yes.
But if you stay long,
Yes.
it means you could afford 5,000,
Yes.
but you stayed paying 9,
Yes.
which means those 4,000, you're adding trauma to
Yes.
yourself and you're taking away liquidity from your pocket.
It's true.
So sometimes because of the attachment, because
Yes.
maybe it's status, because maybe
Yes.
it's now convenient, you're used to the lifestyle there, you don't downgrade yourself in the moment. Because
Yes.
you're just going through a trauma, man.
Yes.
It's rough.
Yes.
But because you're not downgrading,
Yes.
you're making things worse.
Yes.
You're making your recovery later significantly more difficult.
You're right. Yeah.
Because instead of just downgrading now when
Yes.
you're liquid, nyana,
Yes.
by the time you downgrade, you're in debt and you have holes to fill
Ye-
that are
Yes.
deep.
Yes.
So it means even your recovery gets complicated. So you
Yes,
see, trauma
yes.
taught me a lot.
No, it's true because there are two ways of downgrading. There's a forced the downgrading, and then there's a voluntary downgrading.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be in a situation where you are in a forced downgrading, because when it happens like that, it's like if you have a house now of 1 million,
Yeah.
and now it's a forced sale. The bank is not gonna sell it for 1.2 million. They just want to recover what you owe them. So they can even sell it for 900,000, which means you are not gonna get anything on profit of that sale. But if it's a voluntary sale, you have a freedom of determining the price you want to sell the house. If you are moving from a house which is 1 million to a 700,000 rand house, then you've got the power within you to say, I'm gonna sell it for 1.1, because you have a time to wait before it's sold. You are not being forced to leave that house. It's you who volunteer to say, I want to downgrade. And I went through the same thing now, and what was happening, it was not a forced downgrading. It was me saying, I am deciding to downgrade my life. It's more like when you have, what do you call these things, the elastic...
The slingshot.
The slingshot. It's like you are deciding to say, I'm going to pull myself back so that in the future I can go even forward, even further. So that's what I decided to do, to say, let me downgrade to upgrade. So it's more like I'm saying I'm downgrading just for a few months, and then so that I can upgrade in the future. So it was in my own terms. And then for me, I didn't even sell the house. It was more like, I'm just leaving this house. I'm going to be renting it, let's say 14,000. And then I moved to a house where I'm paying 8,000, which means now I have a new, around 6,000 new in my pocket, which was not there in the past. And for me, it was even more advantage because I had even finished that house, paying off that house, which means it's not just the 6,000 that I'm getting. It's 6,000 plus the 14,000, which is 20,000, plus the 4,000 of the petrol that I'm saving. So I'm creating a new 24,000, which was not there, which is going to help me to buy a better house in the future. So it's my own terms of saying I'm downgrading so that I can upgrade. And then I cannot be worried about what people are saying, because it's my own terms. It's me who's deciding to it's me who's deciding to say I'm going to downgrade for these few months so that I can upgrade properly again. Yeah.
What do you have to say to people who listen to you and say the lesson is not lending enough because it's you? Because, I think maybe someone might say, maybe it's different if you're downgrading yourself because you're Percy and you can.
Yes.
It's like a fun activity for you to say, let me. But for me, it's a reality of if I don't do this, they will kick me out in 3 months.
Yes. No, you're right. So that's why I was saying it's best you do it before it's a forced, you volunteer to downgrade before it's a forced downgrading. So it's more like when you start to see that there is problems, you have to react as soon as possible. Don't just wait, because most of the people who come to me for advices, it's like people who I'm thinking, why didn't this person came to me earlier? Yeah, it was going to be better to assist them when it's still early. But it's like you wait until the last moments when there's nothing that I can say that is going to help you anymore. It's like you are in the West now situation where we are just saying we must just go through this process which you are being forced to go through, and then we try to help you to go through it positively.
I'm looking at what it was like that time, and I'm looking at some of the testimonies that I get from people.
Yes.
We did a workshop recently, actually, I think 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And one of the testimonies that came from someone was, you're coming late.
Yes.
I've just blown all my pension.
Yes. Ish. Yeah.
As much as this workshop landed, you showed me the error of my ways as I was sitting down.
Yes.
It's like for them, you explained to me what the psychology behind my bad decision was. So now I understand it. But I'm still in a position where I've blown my pension anyway. So what do I do?
Yeah. No, it's very sad. It's very sad. I also met the same situation in Mpumalanga where an old principal, he came to me and says, I wish if I had listened to you while I was still young. Now I've even gone to pension. I've already spent the money. But I wish if I met you early. But he was having a different mindset, because he said, let's take a picture together, and then when we meet again, I will tell you that I'm no more in the same position. I will have changed things around. I can agree that I've lost my pension, but I'm going to do something to recover. So I feel like there is still a room to recover, although it won't be the same as you had the money. It will be a smaller pace, but you can still do something. It's never too late to correct to correct things.
It never is, man. And I
Yes.
think because the conversation got here,
Yes.
let's give some tips to people who feel like it's too late for me because maybe they blew their pension, or for entrepreneurs, do you know that most entrepreneurs don't even have the pension at all?
Yes.
Because a lot of people who have pensions
Yes.
work in companies that take out the money by force. It's like a structure that you can't stop.
Yes.
But for entrepreneurs, because now you own the business, you have to set
Yes.
it up for yourself.
Yes.
And many don't.
Yes.
And many entrepreneurs who are at a later age, then when we talk about this, are worried because they start to realize, look, now I'm over 50, I'm nearing 60 or over even. I didn't set this thing up.
Yeah.
Is it too late for me? It's always a very difficult conversation.
Yeah.
You've had someone like that?
No, yeah, it is a difficult one to advise somebody like that. And then I feel like it's easier when you are talking to somebody who's just starting a business now to say, don't just look at the income that is coming through as profit. Look at your life to see when you reach 60, can all these things be still sustainable for you? So it's easy for somebody who's starting, but for somebody who has already it's going to pension or close to pension, it's difficult for you to, especially if they don't even have the pension fund, which means they're not going to receive any money, which means they are in the worst situation, and then maybe they should invest more time in teaching the generation, because we should not only have people like me who are teaching from the positive side. We should have people who are teaching from negative side to say, I should have done 1, 2, 3, and then you invest your resources into teaching the next generation so that they don't follow the same mistakes that you did. Yeah.
I told you I've used you as an example before. So I say I have a friend who has done it right all the way from the first job. I'm a different kind of teacher. I've made all the mistakes you can think of to get here. So I got here with scars. Got some run tips. So it's always an interesting dynamic, and I like what you're saying, because what it tells me is learn skills that will help you stay relevant even after 50.
Yes.
And teaching and coaching is just is one of them.
Yes.
Speaking is one of them.
Yes.
Right? Writing is one of them.
Yes.
So even at that stage, I think the big question for you to answer for yourself would be, what skills do I have? What skills can I learn that will make me relevant in the times? That picture looks different depending on how old you are and what era you watch this video, because you might watch this video in 10 years time from this recording. But always the whole focus is what can I be learning that will keep me relevant. Your example was teach.
Yes, no, it's true. Yeah, I was even listening to something another day, and then what I learned from that, the speaker was saying, you have your job. Don't make your job to be your skill. Your job and your skill is two different things. So you don't ignore your skills because you have a job. So you have to still nurture those skills that you have. Everyone has a gift, which is your gift is not going to work. For me, I can say my job, it's a civil engineer job. But my value, it's more on finance, teaching people about finance, which no one can take that from me. somebody can take a job from me. They can decide to say, we don't need you as a civil engineer. We will import engineers from outside. And then they remove me from the job. But you can't remove me from the financial space because it's my skills. It's something that is inside me. So I feel like people need to have that thing to ask yourself, what is your gift? And then you also make sure that you work on your gift so that you grow on your gift as well. Because for me, there are people who don't even know that I'm a civil engineer. They get shocked that I'm a civil engineer when I say it, because they only know me as Percy, the financial guy. Yeah.
I think with you, if I listen to you long enough, the way you talk numbers, anyone can tell there's maths behind this guy.
So, yes.
Then you do the finance teaching well.
Yes.
Was this ever something that you pictured yourself doing?
No. It was never something that I wanted to do or I pictured. Even the book, I never thought of myself as an author. Because for me, it was just living financial principles. Like the financial principles I learned, I just wanted to live them. But when you are living and people around you, they can see the results of what you are doing, like what you are implementing. That's when they started to ask me for advices and to say you should teach other people about this. This is exceptional. So it was more like I'm just living my life, implementing the financial principles until people wanted me to teach them what I am implementing. So it was more like I've been brought into the space by people who watched me in my own personal life implementing the financial strategies. Yes.
A thought that just hit me as you're speaking just now, because you were saying you are applying principles. And I know a lot of yours come from the Bible.
Yes.
And there's a verse in the Bible that says there's a time and a season for everything under the sun. You know that one,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking maybe to encourage someone through a difficult time and a difficult season in their life, to let them know that it's a season. It will pass.
Yes.
But as there is a time to be planting and a time to be harvesting, if you don't plant during planting time, when it's time to harvest, you will not harvest anything.
Yes.
So it also technically means, even if you're going through a hard time, when this season of your life passes, if it takes 1 year, will the 1 year end with you with more skills or with no skills?
Yes, that's true.
Some education. Did you educate yourself? Did you get some skills? Did you talk to some people, become a better networked person?
Yes.
Did you build your confidence? There's a lot that you could do even through that difficult season. Have you had a season when it looks like you've never had? It's like it's been harvest season since you started.
No, there was a lot of time of just sacrificing, which I don't really talk a lot about that. But people who were there in my life, they know about that season in such a way that somebody from 2010 can just inbox me and say, you know that the things you are doing today, what you are achieving today, it's things that you even talked about in 2010 back in the days. So for me, I was in the season, but my mind was already ahead. And then I'm that person who shares my plans with people. I'm the opposite of those people who say don't share your
confuse the enemy.
I'm the opposite of that one, because you know what happens when I share the plans? It's like I commit myself as well to make sure that whatever I've shared, it's going to happen. So those people, they become like they are watching. They become like, what do you call it?
Accountability partners.
Yes, they are more like that, because when I share to say I have a goal to say I want to pay off this house in the next year, then it becomes exciting when I'm doing it with people as accountable partners. So for me, it's like that. I've always shared my plans. That's why somebody can contact me from years back to say, I'm glad to see what you said in those years happening in your life.
All right. So speaking about this season that we're still talking to,
Yes.
can you say your take on budgeting and talking to financial advisors?
It's a good one. It's a good one to do that, because I feel like all those things, like talking to financial people and talking to drawing up your budget, what you are trying to do is just to determine where your money is going. You are trying to determine where the money is going, and then you try to reduce in those places that you feel like this is the waste. I was not supposed to be spending so much on this item.
Yeah,
so you
true.
are trying to do that, which you can even do it by yourself if you are determined to say, let me look for the enemy which is taking my money. Because if you are going to a fight, you must know what are you going to fight against. And then it differs from person to person. To say to somebody, it's just takeaways. They have a problem. I once talked to a pastor. He said, whenever I'm coming from preaching, I just buy takeaways. And then when we calculated how much he's spending on takeaway, it was a lot of money that was going to just takeaway. Somebody can be data. I once had that season where I used to buy data from my phone. Like I would just buy data. And then I realized that if I can just get a package of data, I'm spending less on data by getting a package rather than just buying on prepaid. And then for somebody, it differs from person to some. For somebody, it's just clothes, where you realize that I'm spending a lot on clothes. Because there are people who, every event, they want to be coming with with new clothes, and then you realize, or no, I'm spending a lot on clothes. But for me to say all those things, there's nothing wrong with buying a lot of food. There's nothing wrong with buying a lot of clothes. There's nothing wrong with even buying expensive cars. The most important thing is, where is that money coming from? Because if money is coming from your salary alone, your salary will always go weaker and weaker every time. It's like you won't see what you are doing with your salary, because it's coming from a salary.
Yeah.
But if you have a taste, an expensive taste on something, you have to create an income for that expensive taste. If you want expensive watches, then you must look to say, what can I do on the investment space to build an income that will afford me to buy the expensive watch? Then it's not coming from your salary, it's coming from a side business. Then even for expensive cars, it must be the same, to say, okay, I want a car that is 1 million. It means I will be paying something like 20,000 per month. Where is that 20,000 going to come from? If it's coming from your salary, you are in trouble, because the general salary the general salary in South Africa is not so good, in such a way that it's very few people who earn 30,000 take home. Which means if you are already taking 20,000, you are in a very bad space.
The general principle for you there is invest in assets that will finance your lifestyle.
Correct.
That's one.
Yes.
And I like it when you're saying, look, it's your money. You're going to spend it on whatever you want anyway. You work for it. But one, check where it's coming from.
Yes.
I also thought of something while you were talking. That what is the portion, the percentage portion of that money to you, the money that you're earning?
Yes.
Because sometimes we might say you bought an expensive car.
Yes.
But the money you're paying on that car is like 0.0001% of your income. So to you, it's nothing.
Yes. I always say the same thing to say. Sometimes you can look at somebody, you say they are wasting money, but they are not wasting money. It's based on the income that they are making. For example, if somebody goes and buys a Range Rover today, but you look at the percentage, you say, oh, this person is only spending 2% of their income to finance the Range Rover. And then there is you who is spending 15% of your income
it's more than 50 to finance that one.
So the question is, no. Let's say I buy a Range Rover, but the Range Rover is 2% of my income. And then you are earning 30,000. but you buy a car
It's
which
like 50%.
you're taking 50%. Who's wasting money between
I'm
you
wasting.
and
I don't like your example. You should have made it that. But it's good principles, man.
Yes.
Let's talk to, I think as we wrap up, we'll talk to a lot more principles coming later.
Yes.
But getting the most out of your salary if you found yourself in a hard spot and your credit score is a bit bad, where would your priorities be?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like fixing your credit score, it's part of investing in yourself. Because for somebody, when we say save money, it doesn't mean that tomorrow they're going to start saving a portion of their salary. Yeah. They have to go through a journey of repairing the credit score and making sure that you pay off all those bad debt. So that's a journey that somebody needs to go through, which you cannot jump it into investing and you cannot jump it into starting to save. You need to face your reality to say, no, I have these bad debts that I need to take care of them. And that's already, you have started the process. We might not see the results today, but you are going somewhere. And then I was even talking to somebody who was sharing their story. They were just sharing their story, but they were saying there was a day which they received the whole salary. And when they received the whole salary, there was no way where their money was going. They didn't have debts anymore. They had settled all their debts. Like, it became so emotional to receive to receive all your salary. So when you are in that place, now you can be able to save. You can be able to invest with ease. So I feel like for most people, they need to go there to say, this is my reality. I have a clothing account which is owing 15,000. Before I could do all these other things that I want to do, let me get rid of this bad debt. And then from there, that's when I will start to invest in different things.
Beautiful, man. I'm loving this. If you're enjoying this, pop some questions. Let me know what you want to know more about, because we're going to do a lot more of these financial conversations. But check out Percy on his channel. We'll put a link in the video as well. What video is coming next, man?
I'm just going to be talking about downgrading because it's what usually I speak about, things that are happening in my own life, so it's something that I did recently. So I feel like, let me share a bit about downgrading. Yes.
So Percy is going to go deep on that. Look out for the video. Check out his channel. Follow, subscribe. Just like you've been supporting and helping us grow, man. Let's push the man. And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Because it's important to say, there's a saying that say, if you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. So I feel like that's very important saying, to say there are people who are in debt, but instead of trying to look for ways to come out, they are getting into more debt. And then you are getting into more bad debt and more bad debt. And then you reach a stage where now you are in that stage of being forced to let go of the things that you value. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
So let's normalize being debt free. Thank you. But otherwise, over from us, see you in the next episode. We are enjoying certainly these conversations, and we're enjoying the support from you. So all the best in your journey. Remember to look for a financial advisor. Your circumstances are always unique to you. Your challenges, your priorities, they are unique to you. So you need professionals to sit with you and have the conversation with you. That's a bit more concise and guided by law and principles of law. So we encourage that 100%. See you on the next episode.